So here's the thing, man. We were reminiscing as we shot another video about our past in high school, where we discovered that you mad Conga 24/7.
High school? I wasn't doing
Oh,
that
sorry.
in high school.
Yeah, that would be the
That
worst
would
high school.
suck.
In PreK, right? You said?
Yeah. No, kinder. I didn't go to
Kinder.
PreK.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I went to PreK for like fucking, I think like a month. And I don't know the reasons because I'm too young to remember. But I do remember my mom storming in there fucking angry as shit and telling them something. And I didn't go to school until kinder.
That explains why they refused to take me to pre-K, because it was kind of, it wasn't like a requirement, but they were like highly encouraging the pre-K thing
Right.
before kinder. And she was like, "Nah, homie."
You know what I think it might have been? Don't quote me on this because, again, I don't strictly remember the details. But I think it might have been because of a religious thing.
Mm.
You know, we grew up in the Jehovah's Witnesses. So I think maybe they had me do something. Because I remember making a plate with a witch face on it.
Yeah.
And I think my mom went up there and was like, what the fuck? Which is a thing that happens if you were in or are in the Jehovah's Witnesses.
You
Your
think
parents
that,
are going to go weird about that.
Yeah. You think the defiance against the witch led to your love of hags?
I was a mad, morbid kid, guy.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been a mad, morbid kid. In fact, I intend to do a video where we talk about the whole Jehovah's Witness thing. You know, ever since Chris Stuckman was like, yo, I was Jehovah's Witness, you know, people have been talking about that. I was a mad, rebellious fucking... I mean, I got kicked out. I got disfellowship when I was mad young. So, you know, I got stories to tell. But it definitely didn't start my love of hags.
Mm.
I already loved me a good hag back then.
Damn, before that?
As a youngin'.
Mm.
But I think that was the reason. But anyway, speaking of weird shit, when we were in school, fucking, when I was in kinder or first, no, I was first. I had a mad hustle. Can you guess what it was?
Freaking Ninja Turtle shit? You've told this story before.
Yeah, dude, man, the Ninja Turtles were fucking like all the rage
Yeah.
back then, right? And for some, you know, kids will waste their quarters or pennies on the stupidest shit ever.
Yeah.
And, you know, people get money for popcorn during recess or lunch or whatever.
Shit, guy.
You know that trick and some shit.
Time.
Popcorn, Cheetos, whatever the fuck. And I was like, I'm going to get me that fucking cash, man. And I was like, how though? What do I have to offer? Nathan, I got to offer nothing at all here. So one day I was, I used to hang out with this chick named Yoli. And for I don't know what the fuck, but we were like mad friends. And you know when you reach a certain age and you're like, you just look at each other from across and you know
Dude,
that you lost something.
I had a friend like that too, and second grade actually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me and her were mad friends.
Our friendship was based on a Pooh Bear I had.
That's a good bear. Hey, look, as a kid, that's a great foundation for friendship. Pooh and bear. What was it, Pooh Bear?
Not just
You
feces.
mad clean your ass with a poo with a bear.
A dried Duke. Anyway, Ninja Turtle also.
So I used to hang out with this chick named Yoli, and she liked to play in the mud a lot. She was kind of like a tomboy, right?
As kids do.
Yeah, but she was a girl and she was tomboyish, and I remember she had a fucking facial birthmark right here, which I guess led to her ostracization among others. But I was like, oh, she's cool. Anyway, we were playing in the mud, and she broke this piece of dry dirt, and with intention to wet it, right?
Man,
and I was like,
kids are weird, man.
yeah, I know, and it was fun to us.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on, don't ruin that clod.
It sucks.
I got a use for that. And immediately in my head, I knew that I could carve this into a Ninja Turtle head. And you know that standard Playmates Ninja Turtle with a weird kind of like, you know, weird...
Yeah, the
teeth. And the bandana and all that shit. I used a stick and I carved that design into the turtle head. Then I smoothed it out. And it looked like a turtle head. And I was like, this is cool. And I took it back with me into class after recess was over. And some guy saw it, and he was like, oh, can I have that? I was like, no, I made this for me. And I go, and then in my head, I was already on like, how can I make some mad moolah, right? I said, I can make you one though for 25 cents. And he's like, all right. And he gave me a quarter, and I was like, oh shit, now I gotta make another one. So I just gave him that one because fuck that shit.
Yeah.
But
it's just dirt.
But then word hit the streets, guy, that I could make mad turtle heads. And for a while there, I was swimming in quarters. And then everybody had a turtle head, and then realized I'm buying dirt.
Literal muck. Dude, we should have a...
Fuck.
You should try to recreate that turtle.
I should, man.
I got some clay.
Some clay. I mean, it has to be a dried clod, though.
It doesn't work with anything better than dirt.
Certainly not a better sculpting medium.
I literally have proper sculpting tools.
Nah, boy. I just need a crooked ass fucking stick and a clod. But anyway, eventually people figured out they were buying dirt, and also I had saturated the market.
Yeah, the monopoly
with turtle heads. Oh yeah, and also one of their parents came and complained and made me return their quarter.
Come on, guy.
Over a fucking cloud. It's not my fault your kid's stupid enough to buy fucking dirt. Anyway, so I had to give up the game, right? The hustle was dead right there. But then I had to make up, man. I was already in the rolling in quarters, so I was like, I can't just not have quarters now. So what did I do? Man, this is embarrassing, guy.
Worse than the turtles?
Probably.
Worse than the Conga line.
Definitely worse than the Conga line.
Damn.
That's another video that hopefully you already seen. But the point is, the Conga line's the worst offender. But anyway, this is pretty shitty. I said, out of the blue, this was my device to get quarters now that I didn't have the head game going on. I said to the guy, by the way, the first guy that asked me for the head, I'll say, hey, if you give me a quarter, I mean, if I eat this rock,
oh yeah,
will you give me a quarter? And he's like, hell yeah. And it was a rock about yay big, you know. And Matt swallowed that boy.
Pop that boy in.
And he was like, worth it. And then
I think that's better freaking return on investment than a piece of dirt.
Here's the thing, guy. Eventually, you eat enough rocks.
No. I'm saying on his end, you were giving a.
Oh yeah. It was a freak show at that point.
It was a mad deal.
Fucking bad deal for me.
Horrible deal for you.
I hadn't eaten a fair share of rocks that day, and wasn't feeling too good.
It almost was like you had a stomach full of rocks.
Almost, guy. And so I was like, man, this sucks. I don't want to eat more rocks, but there was demand now.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck. So I staved off the rocks for that day, and I got home, and I remember just telling my mom, like, yo, I be eating rocks. There's a mad rock game going on in my udders. That's right, in my udders. In my stomach. Also possibly in my udders.
Definitely have udders.
And she's like, what the fuck? And I remember them distinctly being afraid of not being able to shit them out. I'm pretty sure I would have just shit them fucking rocks out, but they made me throw up. So I was sticking my fucking finger in my throat, and it wasn't working because, you know, you're a kid. Who the fuck, besides I guess bulimic people maybe, who the fuck, you know, forces themselves to throw up? I just didn't want to do it, right? So my grandma comes up and she's just, oh,
God damn,
dude, them rocks. Well, I don't know if all of them came out, but them motherfucking rocks shot out, boy.
Damn, homie.
It hurt my tooth. Anyway, that was my fucking hustle, dude.
You think to this day there's still a rock or two in there?
Possibly, guy. There might be a little rock in there, guy.
Damn, homie.
I definitely got other things in me that shouldn't be there. I was telling you earlier that when I was a kid, I tripped outside in the yard, and a piece of glass about yay big went into my knee, and they couldn't dig it out, and it's I never saw it come out.
That's a big one too, huh?
It was a big motherfucking piece of glass.
I got a piece of glass in the same knee, by the way.
You got a kneecap?
That never healed. I was showing it to you earlier. It still occasionally gets bloody, so that's probably good.
Yeah,
and this was when I was like maybe like 5 or 6, and it still gets I'm touching right now and it hurts.
That's still visible. My scar went away, so I'm hoping either my body eventually rejected. I just didn't notice. I don't know what the fuck. But what I do know is that when I was a kid, somebody decided to build a fucking swing out in the yard, and this is this is Mexican. You know what I'm saying? Like we're Mexican, so
Definitely no official swing.
No
Fisher
official
Price
swing.
shit.
Definitely nobody's looking at construction manuals on how to properly build a swing. Turns out there's some fucking art to it.
Yeah.
Because this swing was a straight up revolving door of terror. You know, the seat was always like this instead of like this. It was always hanging like this. So you had to straighten it to sit down. That already tells you this motherfucker's gonna spin you if you're not properly balanced. Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
What?
Was this swing still around when I was young and there was like a forbidden thing?
Yep.
Holy shit! I have heard this story before. I have heard this story before. I think you even might have told it before on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
But that just jogged that memory that there was a stanky swing outside.
And I'll fucking tell you why. Because, okay, well, this swing was mad dangerous, clearly.
Yeah, horror.
But I had enjoyed the swing before.
Yeah.
Right? And the UA usually do it, and here's a shocker for you. We've established that our older brother's a complete asshole.
Yeah, turd.
But back then, he would push me on the swing. Well, this day, I was like, come on, boy, push me in the swing. And he was pushing me, but then he just walked away. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just swing myself, right? But my little feetsies could barely reach the ground. So I did a little push, but when I went forward, you know, you swing up like that, I guess my head was so immense or whatever the fuck, but my head just careened, axed into the ground, and the ground was straight up concrete, guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And if you go outside and you notice where the tree was hanging off was, you'll see that the branch was exactly where the concrete meets the dust, and that part is sticking up.
Yeah.
My head was split open, and look, I mentioned that we were Mexican, so that explains the bad construction on that swing.
Yeah, terrible.
But it also explains why they didn't take me to the hospital.
It really does.
Mad poor.
I literally had a slice on my arm where you could see my fat and bone. And they were just like, just slap a tampon on that, boy.
Yeah,
not tampon, a pad. Tampon would be.
If you're a poor Mexican, you ain't going to no fucking hospital.
And I had insurance. Imagine.
Yeah, we didn't have shit back then. And let me tell you, guy, to this day, I'm convinced it loosened some fucking marbles up in my head, or possibly rocks in my stomach, because I've always been a weird person. I think you can agree with that.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you shit with the door open, which is like, what the hell?
That's normal, guy. But anyway, no, like I've always been a little off kilter. Now, you know, I'm not saying I'm crazy or anything like that. I'm kind of a weird guy. But if there ever was a moment when I feel that something might have happened to set something, this is that moment, because my head fucking like Paul Bunyaned onto that ground, guy. I was crying nonstop. I remember they called one of the neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
And they came over.
That's the best way to fix it.
And they were like, dude, what the fuck? And they were like, nope, can't afford it. And the solution was just to let it heal and hope that it, you know, nothing happens. And I remember going to school with a big-ass Band-Aid on my hair because, you know, they didn't shave my head or anything. A hospital would have possibly, but... you know, I had a Band-Aid in my hair, and of course it wouldn't stick for long, and people would be like, oh, gross, what is this massive split in your head?
Yeah.
I remember my parents getting, or
so
mom.
You didn't even get, like, freaking stitches or anything? Like,
no.
Damn.
It was, and what's weird, and you mentioned this, is that I don't have a visible scar.
Yeah, that's what's so weird, because we're kind of going over our legacy of scars, all of which mine are suck or are stupid, by the way. Mm-hmm. And yeah, how do you not have a freaking scar on your head?
It's weird, man. And it was
I literally have scars from when I was 5 that are still on me. How do...
Yeah. That I can see, I have no scar. And usually if you get a scar on your head, you know, hair doesn't grow right there, especially of that magnitude. And I have nothing there that I can feel or see. You can see better at night. I don't have shit. But that motherfucker split my wig, guy, literally. And they didn't do shit. They didn't do fucking shit, guy. Uh-huh. But what they did do was take their rage out on the swing. So the swing was hanging from, you know, a massive branch, obviously. And they just swung it until it was all. And that's how you encountered it.
I remember that shit.
Yeah.
I remember one time it was unwound, and I wanted to go on, and they were like, nope.
Yeah, they were like, man. And that's why, because I had struck fear into their hearts. I'm telling you, this fucking wound, guy, might have fucking flipped my lid.
I think the wound that flipped my lid, well, it's not even a wound, and that wasn't even there. I just have heard the stories of it, was when I was a mad fetus. being held up near near a ceiling fan. All you hear was dum dum dum.
Oh, this wasn't a wound, but yeah, our older brother had you on his shoulders, and he was talking to our grandma, and you were in her living room area, and she had like many people a ceiling fan, and he was talking to her, and the whole conversation you just heard. Duk, 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 duk.
That shit went fast.
And I walked in, and I was like, a fucking baby, because you were obviously a fetus.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh my god, what the hell? I was like, how'd you not notice that shit? That mad shit was tomahawking into your brain, guy. But you know, I mean, little baby heads are sensitive, sure.
Yeah.
But at least it's not concrete, straight up fucking ramrodding into your brains.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. You definitely got tomahawked.
I remember this one time. Oh man, this is corny. Well, it's not, but this semi-story reminded me of the time that I lubed up my feet in my onesie and skated around in the room. But one time I was doing one of those things that was dumb. I used to do a lot of dumb shit actually, especially in the school. One time I was doing that shit, and what I was doing was doing somersaults because they taught us at school in kindergarten how to do them, right? The safe way and then the kind of scary way. I was doing that shit. Yes, there was a time when I was not a huge round piece of shit and could actually do that. Anyway, I was doing that shit, and I did the scary one on the bed, and I lined it with my neck, like, it was like this. And then pushed, like, all the way down. I thought I was gonna die, guy. Like, that was literally, it felt so weird. Like, I can't describe it. It was just like a weird, like, imagine your head being pushed down, and it just feels like it's in another place, like, separate from your body. I was like, oh shit, I'm dead. I'm dead, guy. I was even convinced I was dead for like at least 30 seconds. And I was like, can I move? Yeah, I can move. I'm good. And then I just kept doing it. But dude, like any little bit more, or if I had more weight on me, definitely broken ass neck.
I'm surprised you didn't, man. I'm surprised I didn't break my.
It's such a weird feeling. Like I can't even.
That
like,
I'm dead feeling.
No. Like the way it happened, like it must have done something in my spine or something, because it was like a bizarre, like it felt like a different
disassociated from
yourself. Yeah, like I felt like I was two pieces.
I didn't feel that way, but I think the closest I've come to death outside of a vehicle, because that's happened a few times, and every time I've come closer, by the side note, every time I come close to death in a vehicle, it's always like time slows down, like you see it in a slower rate, and I always think in a resigned fashion.
You're like, Zack Snyder directed this.
Yeah, might as well. I always think like, well, that's it, and I just kind of in my mind, I just let go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then thankfully it has not happened, and then I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? And one time it was so close, guy, so fucking close, and again the same reaction. I was like, yep, that's it. And then, like, I kind of get that life flash before your eyes thing. I didn't see my life flash before my eyes, but I thought, like, a million thoughts at once.
Yeah,
like, did I say something good to this person before I last saw, a million thoughts, boom, 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 boom. But then I just thought, that's it. And then, oh, fuck, that person, like, mad swerved out of the way last minute. Fucking speed racing out of my, destroying my fucking boat ice. But, anyway, right afterwards, I just continued driving, but then it hit me like a minute later, like, oh shit, that was the closest ever. And I drove into a parking lot, and I was immediately sick. Like I didn't throw up, but I was retching hardcore, and like just mad shaking all of a sudden. And I was like, holy shit, like it hit me later. But anyway, besides those moments, I was working in a warehouse. And there was 3 tiers, and you saw this warehouse.
Yeah.
The 3rd tier was pretty fucking high, man. Easily over 30 feet high. Now, I'm gonna say easily over 20 feet. I'm not gonna say 30 feet. That's maybe too big. But yeah, it was around that amount of feet high, and I was on that.
It's definitely more than 20 feet.
But let's just play it safe. Say 20 feet. 20 feet, so what is that? Like each story is like 10 feet. So 2 stories. But like you say, I'm pretty sure it was higher than that. That was a big ass fucking thing. And I was on the top tier of these racks. And if there was stuff on the racks would be stabilized because there's stuff on them. But here's me, a big heavy guy, chimpanzeeing around. And for a big guy, I was pretty fucking Spider-Man-like in those days, especially.
Spider-Ham, they called you?
Now I'm like, my knee. But back then I was Spider-Hamming, you know? And, but I was on this fucking, the section of the tier, and there was nothing on it save for a box of toilet paper. So when I stepped on it the wrong way, it picked up the grill, and I just fell, dude. And I fell from that top tier all the way to the floor, which was concrete.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing it was the fact that I fell like straight on my back.
Dude, that's what it is.
And but imagine
you distributed weight.
Yeah, but imagine my weight distributed anyway. It's still a lot of weight.
Not good. Your innards were.
And I just felt like that. First of all, wind and every scintilla of fucking wind knocked out of me. That feels like ass. So I fell, and the sound was like, you know, like I was like, what the fuck? And there was one person at the end of the fucking warehouse, and they're like, what the shit? And they rush over. And they're like, oh, what do you want me to do? And, you know, people panic. You know, I did that myself when somebody seemed to be injured. And I was like, oh, what do I do? And I couldn't say anything. And eventually, you know, he freaks out and he runs out and he brings one of the managers. And by then, I've at least somewhat recuperated the ability to fucking breathe. But I'm like, I wouldn't say agony, but I'm in a state, shall we say. And I'm just lying there and the guy's like, oh, what the shit? You know, and this guy was a particularly finicky manager that was always afraid of, you know, lawsuits and shit like that. So his reaction was not get a fucking emergency vehicle in here or anything like that. It was more like, can we ignore this?
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, just give me a few minutes here, man. And a few minutes turned into about an hour and a half of me laying on the fucking cold ground. But I did recover, but... holy shit!
It's like that freaking time in kinder that I fell off the playground thing onto a literal spike of concrete.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it was like a straight up spike of concrete. Everyone saw it. Teachers saw it. I freaking literally Batman Baned onto that shit and just laid there for like the whole period, dying. I remember in my mind, like freaking teachers were walking by like, what is this? And then they all went in. This was during lunch. They all went in. And I literally had to crawl my way into the class. No one gave a shit, guy.
How did you fall? Were you on some monkey bars or some shit?
Yeah, it was like, you know those playground things that have like the slides, but it's mostly just like a platform?
Yeah.
It was one of those. And, you know, I was small. I was 5 years old, basically.
Uh-huh.
And it was kind of high off the ground. And you know, it was on sand. The bottom was sand, but of course, in our typical of our area, a lot of the sand had either been stolen or was never there to begin with. So it was just kind of bare, and so the big concrete blocks that are, you know, ground the structure were exposed, exposed and weathered into fine, sharp instruments of pain. So yeah, I just fell on that shit, spine destroyed, soul shattered. Everyone looked and didn't give a shit.
That happened. A similar thing happened to
Dude, I literally crawled my way into class and no one cared.
Yeah, I believe you. Because the similar thing happened to this guy named Vic that I was friends with around the same... No, it was a little bit later. It was in elementary school. So, and then we're in the playground area, and he was a heavy-set kid, and he was monkey barring, which is why I asked it was the monkey bars. And he was monkey barring and he slipped and he fell like in a full fucking cheerleader split.
Yeah.
And he screamed to the heavens and I was like, oh shit. So I went to, you know, the teachers that are roving around and I was like, yo, this kid just split his dick or some shit. And they didn't care, guy.
Damn.
And everybody went back in and they just left him there and he was moaning and all that shit. You know, still in the split, by the way, only now on his side, which is more disconcerting. And I was like, hold on, man. I'm going to go tell our teacher proper because she was not outside. And I went in and I was like, yo, this guy. And she actually went out there. Man, that kid came back 3 days later and he was still walking funny.
Oh, damn, homie. It's like
zero shits given.
That freaking dude, same grade. I a dude that got, because they used to give ice creams out, or well, they were a premium. You had to pay for them. I bet you that ice cream.
That's a big step from giving out.
Yeah, I bet you those ice creams cost like $25 each or some shit. If we're going off how the pizza was distributed in school, but anyway, I never got one. Obviously, they were selling that shit during lunch, and some fool got a stick stuck in his throat. Never saw him again.
You know what? That's the classic. I don't know if that's more an urban legend that we've come to believe or not.
No, I saw it.
Well, hold on. Because I, too, had a similar incident. Not myself
Maybe
personally.
they plant guys to get you to believe that.
The thing was, it wasn't a popsicle stick with the person that it happened to, quote unquote, we'll say, during, I believe this was second grade, it was a pencil. And I remember them carrying the kid away, but I think to myself, is it just me putting the story onto the situation, or did I fabricate the situation?
I'll say this for sure. I only caught the commotion that was going on in the congregation and the story that came.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he got a stick in his throat. Never saw that fool again.
Same here.
So easily this could have been a fabricated thing by the teachers to get kids not to suck on them sticks.
Same here, man. A commotion went up. You know those what do they call them? Those kids that are given what are they called? Guards or whatever guards or
shit. What are they called?
Shit guards.
Yeah, it's definitely shit guards. Yeah.
You know, they're given the little sash and they think they can boss everybody around. Those fucking kids. I went up to one of them and like, what happened? And they're like, they found a kid over here who tripped and I guess had a pencil in his fucking mouth and it stuck. You know, got stuck in his throat.
That's basically how mine happened, guys.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Conspiracy?
I'm telling you, it's like an urban legend. And something happens and they put it on that. And afterwards, everybody was like, that kid's never showed up again. Yeah. But I was like, did he? I mean, I just saw them take someone.
True.
It could have just been anybody. I didn't,
That's a good point.
Was that a story in your school?
I will say that they never gave ice cream again. But I remember this was a specific company, either Blue Bunny or one of those. Maybe Bad Bunny. So maybe their deal with, this is my conspiracy, maybe their deal with that company came through because it was too expensive. So they fabricated the story of a kid dying so that they don't have to pay for the person to come and sell out the things.
That is decidedly the worst conspiracy theory, but I'll roll with it.
I'm trying to give a reason why this would be a thing that someone makes up.
I'm pretty sure it's an urban legend that just happens, guy. If you heard this in your school, let us know.
It's definitely something happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something happened. Yeah. I'm just saying that the legend is cast upon it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I may be casting my own legend right now.
It was definitely a stick.
Who knows that?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. And boop.